and welcome back to Personal Brand Success. I am your hostess, Nicolette Stinson, personal brand strategist and creator of Your Abundant Brand website and the Personal Brand Confidence Program. Today's interview is with Jamie Broderick, and Jamie is a visibility strategist who helps entrepreneurs become market leaders by building their platform, leveraging her connections, and shining the light on their unique talents. Her endless creativity and knowledge has gifted her with the uncanny ability to connect people together for just the right advice. She leads a business support network that she founded 10 years ago called the Success Connection, provides market leadership training in her course Above the Crowd, and hosts 2 annual confidence building retreats in Florida and New York, along with co-producing TEDx Lincoln Square in New York City. So I know that being, the creative introvert type visibility and relationship and this whole topic has been something that I've had to kind of build and find my authenticity around. So I'm just excited to jump into this topic of visibility with you today and hear more about your story and some of your advice and strategies for developing and growing your personal brand. So welcome, Jamie, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Great. So I know I just did a little bit of a bio there for you, so we got a taste of your story, but do you want to start by sharing with us, in your own words, some of your background and your road to success and a bit about how you got into what you're doing today?
Sure. Well, I have a business finance and accounting background, but I'm not the stereotypical accountant. I have a very creative mind, and I threw a lot of parties in my day. So that crazy, diverse experience makes me good at coaching business owners, but also being really unique with my marketing strategies and with producing events. I like to keep it fun. Business doesn't have to be boring. My backstory as far as why I do what I do is when I was young, there was a lot of fighting and dysfunction in my house, like throwing plates and holes in the wall kind of thing. And as a child, I was really quiet. So now as an adult, I am helping women find their voice and make an impact in the world. Because when I was young, I didn't feel like I mattered. So how's that for a backstory?
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to experience that, but I do love hearing kind of these authentic, vulnerable stories about, why we really do what we do. I think a lot of times people talk about what they do and who they want to serve, but it doesn't come from this place of, the real, why story, So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, well, getting vulnerable and really figuring out your why and sharing it and knowing what's that heart piece, that's what people want to hear. That's what they'll attach to, because they're not buying products or services, right? They're buying the story behind the products and services.
Right. So I'm curious what if you have a standout challenge in your journey as far as your journey as a personal brand yourself. I like to ask this because I feel like there's a lot of actually commonalities, the story is always different, but some of the lessons are similar. So do you have something that stands out in your story, and do you have a way that you overcame it?
Absolutely. For 9 years, I ran a local networking group, and I have transitioned to a virtual business support network. But my challenge was doing that transition because I wanted to please everyone, and I didn't want to let anyone down. So it took a while for me to just stand in the belief that what I was creating, the new model that I was creating, was extremely valuable, and that some people weren't going to move forward with me, and that was okay.
Right. And so before we get into the specifics of your topic here, I also like to just take a minute to discuss success, and particularly the term personal brand success and what it means to you in this conversation, so we kind of have a gauge of, what are we really talking about today.
Okay. Well, I think that a successful personal brand is one that is recognized as the market leader. So this way you've already built the trust, which makes it easy to convert the sales. You're the person everyone's talking about. They know you're going to provide the value. You have built up your credibility. You've built up your connections. You've built up your visibility. You are the go-to expert out there.
Yeah, and does that look like how does that show up in your life, do you think, as success, like once you've created that?
Well, because people buy from those that they know, like, and trust. So if you're seen as the market leader, you already have the know, like, and trust factor. The marketing is easier and the sales are easier. And you can build on your platform. So once you have a platform, you can expand what you offer. So if you're a go-to expert in a certain area, you can offer digital courses, you can become a speaker, you can write a book, you can be a coach. You basically can expand all of your offerings based on that platform that you've built of yourself.
Right. So can you explain like what becoming visible means to you, kind of what that journey looks like, and maybe some of the best ways to gain visibility as a personal brand?
Well, I would say being visible means not being afraid to put yourself out there and becoming known as that market leader. Sharing your personality, embracing your quirks and your talents, and really being authentic, which is an overused word these days, but there is only one you, right? So embrace your personality and attract the people that you're meant to serve.
Right. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a topic, like in this series, how there are these certain kind of strategies to stand out, like you said, like being authentic and being vulnerable and sharing your story. And it's very true, but they almost become like buzzwords. And then instead of really being authentic, you're kind of being authentic as a strategy, and it's kind of like still coming from this place of like tactical versus.
Mm-hmm. Well, if everything you do is in alignment, then that's authentic to me. So if the words that are being said by you, the decisions you're making, the people you're hanging around with, the offerings you're making, everything is in alignment, then it's authentic to me.
So how do you begin with clients? Like, what are some of the very first steps you use to help clients create success in their life?
Well, the first thing I do is always listening, really hearing what they're struggling with. And then I tap into my intuition and help them get clarity on where they want to go and what steps they need to get there. Because as an entrepreneur, you can get very overwhelmed with all the different things that are available to learn and to do. Rather than staying on your path to your goal, you can easily get off the road. Mm-hmm. So it's important to stay focused on the path and cross the finish line.
Right. Do you have any particular like tools or strategies you use to help people kind of listen to their intuition and decide where it is they want to go?
I guess one thing we do at my retreats is we write letters to our future selves. So you kind of look into the future of what you want it to look like and then work backwards. Right. So what do I need to do to get there?
And what do you think some of the best ways to build credibility for your personal brand are?
That's exactly what I teach in my course, which is called Above the Crowd, because it's noisy out there, so you need to stand out. And credibility is not something that you build once. And it also, once you have credibility, it opens the doors to building a network of connections. And once you have those connections, it builds your visibility, opens opportunities for more visibility. And once you get more visibility, that opens the door, that builds more credibility. And once you have more credibility, you get more connections. It just keeps growing on itself. There's many ways to build your credibility. The first question I would ask is, what is important to your audience? So different examples of things that could possibly build your credibility would be an education or a certification, awards, media coverage. Maybe it's producing an incredible signature event, or maybe it's who you're hanging around with. Your track record, your ability to fulfill commitments, all of those things affect your credibility. So last year, I did a lot of things to increase my credibility. I made a conscious choice to do things that would affect it, such as co-producing the TEDx in New York City. The fact that it's a TEDx and that I'm a producer and that it's in New York, all of those are credibility builders.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a certain technique or strategy for kind of deciding how best to start building these credibilities, looking at your strengths or seeing what's going on in your own life or the connections you currently have or something along those lines?
I guess it depends on what audience you're trying to impress, for lack of a better word. So what would they find impressive?
Mm-hmm.
So think about the audience you want to serve and what would impress them. So if I want to serve millennials entrepreneurs in New York, I need to be hanging around with well-known New York City 7-figure entrepreneurs, for instance, because that's who they look up to.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. It's also something that's kind of come through in this series as well. Building your personal brand, not only from your own passions, but also looking at, who's your ideal client, and even from the standpoint of building your visual identity. Same thing is you want to look at what do they want to see and what's going to be attractive to them, and kind of balancing who you authentically are and what your true gifts are with also what's attractive to that client.
Oh, absolutely.
So
the first thing people are going to do, whether it's a client or a producer or a publisher, they're going to look online and see if you are as big of a rock star as you say you are. You need to, look great, look really strong online. You need to have great visuals. You need to be speaking well on video, perhaps, if you're looking for a speaking gig or TV opportunity. You need to have endorsements and recommendations from other people. So if other people are recommending you, it gives it more weight than if nobody is out there giving you testimonials. It's really important that other people are saying good things about you. So I think it was Chris Brogan who switched gears and started working with big corporations, and he did some work for Coca-Cola, I believe was the first one. And once companies saw that he worked for Coke, they were like, oh, okay, if he's good enough for Coke, he's good enough for us. But sometimes it pays to do something for free. So if you were a speaker, for instance, perhaps you want to speak at Harvard for free to get Harvard on your resume.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. That's definitely something that I also work with clients around too, is kind of when they're initially building out a signature offer or something like that, gathering those testimonials and making sure that there's social proof, even if they're offering their services at first for free. And wondering if you have any kind of tips around how to get those initial testimonial from people that you know, or the best way to reach out, or if there's a certain kind of way to reach out or questions to ask to get the right kind of testimonial.
One thing I teach is to figure out when your clients are most happy. Where in the delivery cycle of your offering or product are they most happy? That's when you ask for the testimonial.
Yeah.
Not always at the end.
Yeah.
I like to ask for recommendations on LinkedIn, because you can't take testimonials from anywhere else and add them to LinkedIn. So you start with LinkedIn, and then you can copy and paste them into your website or wherever else. Video testimonials, of course, are really impactful too, because people see the person that's doing the recommendation, they hear them.
Yeah, so kind of, do you ask people for LinkedIn recommendations, or do you just let that kind of come as it comes?
Oh no, you have to ask, absolutely. You have to ask. So you need to make it kind of a routine. Every so often, you reach out and ask for 2 more recommendations. So let's say once a month, you ask for a few recommendations, and you'll start building up from there.
That's interesting, because I feel like there's kind of this stereotype a little around LinkedIn, and maybe it's changed a lot, but there's almost like LinkedIn has more of like a corporate feel, and it's more about like the corporate ladder and things like that. But I know that you are an entrepreneur and you work with entrepreneurs, and it seems to work really well for them as well.
Right.
Is there certain...
Yeah. Well, LinkedIn is really powerful because basically it's a showcase for everything that you've done. So you can put your awards and have your recommendations like we talked about. You can also have your media coverage in there, which most people don't do because it's not really obvious. But there is a section called publications, and it doesn't mean that you had to have written it. It means that you have been featured in it. So if you went to my LinkedIn, Jamie Broderick on LinkedIn, you'll see that there's a bunch of publications on there. But they're radio interviews, blog mentions, newspaper articles, magazine articles, things other people have written. So as long as you tag the reporter or the radio host or whoever it is that is writing or talking about you, it's completely legit. And then you put the link to the interview.
Nice. Yeah, that's kind of the leveraging other people's content. There's been, some people have had feedback about that as well, like being able to just be in the conversation, and you don't always have to have this whole, amazing content that you've written yourself, but it's sometimes just recycling like content that's already out there.
Well, especially content that's written about you. It's a massive credibility builder. So if people see that people have written articles and interviewed you, then they're like, all right, damn, all right, good. Another thing I like LinkedIn for is to find strategic partners. So you use the advanced search feature. Let me just give you an example of a great connection I made. I put the word mindset into LinkedIn's search box, and a bunch of people popped up. I reviewed them really quickly. I found one woman, Carolyn Bennett Sullivan, who is a mindset coach and an author. I loved her profile, sent her a note, we connected. I invited her to be a speaker at my retreat. She bought a ticket to the retreat and then joined my network for a year. It's a great result of using that search function. So if you're looking for strategic partners to grow your network of connections, just put in some keywords and see what you get.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Actually, I should do that for this series itself.
Absolutely.
I think I don't, for whatever reason, I haven't given LinkedIn the credit that it truly deserves. And yeah, so it's good to hear this kind of stuff for sure.
Yeah, I think it definitely is more conservative and professional than other platforms, but there are so many people on it, and it's searchable, and it's a great way to showcase your credibility and your connections.
Yeah, and I like your tip around making sure you share, where you have been featured, because I think sometimes people just forget about that, or it can get forgotten about. It's sort of like, oh, I was featured here, and I'll let them do the promotion for me instead of making sure that you share as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's the whole cycle.
Right. Even for the awards section, if you look at my LinkedIn, you can totally use it as a cheat sheet to figure out how to do your own. But on my award section, there are things that I've won, but there are other awards where I was just nominated. But I feel a nomination for an award is still a credibility builder, so I add it. Why not?
And in reaching out to people, do you just kind of point out what you liked about them, and and maybe just go for the ask of how you might be able to collaborate, or are there different ways you approach that?
Well, when you're first starting, and if you do have a specific reason to connect, absolutely, it's better to send a personal note. Once you have a really solid network of connections, it's much easier because people will see that you have mutual friends, and they'll much more likely to accept your invitation. But if you're just starting out or you don't know anyone in their network, definitely send a personal note.
Right. Do you feel it's valuable to do kind of the upgraded version of LinkedIn?
I don't, actually.
You know,
I think the premium version is key if you are in sales, perhaps. I know everyone's in sales, but like truly a salesperson for a company where all you're doing is cold calling all day long kind of thing.
Right.
I think there's plenty of power to the basic level of LinkedIn. And knowing who's looking at my profile doesn't matter to me. So I don't really need, they always try to get you to that one, right? You want to know who's looking at your profile? Are you up to upgrade? I'm like, I don't care.
So I'd love to hear more too about like the Success Connection and kind of what that's all about, and how people can build relationships through that.
The Success Connection is my virtual business support network. So it's women entrepreneurs in many states across the country, with one member in the UK right now. So I guess you could say we're global now. Does that count?
Sure.
It is truly a positive, collaborative support network. Everyone is invested in everyone else's success. That saying, rising tides lift all boats, is so true in this group. It opens doors to new opportunities. You could build your connections. We shine the spotlight on other members. It's all about, and it's very personalized and strategic. So each member has a different experience per se because they're in different places in their business. Some may be just starting. Some may be taking their business to the next level. So each member gets a call with me every single month. And that call could be anything from, hey, I need a referral, or I need a connection, and I'll do an email introduction. Or it could be, hey, let's look at my LinkedIn profile and come up with a few tips on how to make it better today. Or it could be financial planning, or I never know what it's going to be. It's really keeps it interesting. So I'm a recovering CPA. So I have the whole business, finance, accounting background, but I also have the creative marketing brain. So it's I can handle both sides of those conversations. And then there's also coaching online, where we dive into some software platform every month, and we go behind the scenes to see how I'm using it to make my business more efficient. So I'm all about systems and processes so that people can get more done in less time. We also connect online on Zoom, face-to-face on camera with the other members. Then they also get to talk to a VIP every month. So a VIP comes on camera and everyone can introduce themselves and ask personal questions about their own business to that VIP that they wouldn't get access to. So it's really powerful. It's a total game changer.
Nice. And so it's kind of like a monthly membership, or is it something that you commit to for longer, or what does that look like?
There's different options. Some members pay monthly, some pay yearly, and some do a one-time payment and are in for life.
So what do you feel like the kind of deeper transformation that takes place in your clients, or what's the I guess I ask this because a lot of times with personal branding, it can be very, there's a lot of surface level things, or even just marketing and branding in general. We talk about the surface a lot and the strategies and whatnot, which are very important, but also, like, what do you feel is sort of the deeper transformation or the true transformation that you often see in your clients or people within this Success Connection network?
I would say on an emotional level, I help them see and believe in their true potential. I give them the confidence to go for it and show them what they're actually capable of. On the strategic, tactical side, I help them go from the idea stage to the thriving business stage. And I don't think you can do the second one without the first.
Great. Awesome. So in kind of wrapping up here, do you want to leave listeners with a message or a tip or certain advice for them so that they can create an authentic, standout personal brand and really start to become a leader in their field?
I would say that leadership is waiting for them. They just need to decide and step up and grab it. So be remarkable. Don't hold back. You're capable of more than you think. So share your story, attract your tribe, and go for it.
Yes, I agree. I always am like, you are ready right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe you have a free gift for everyone today. And is there any other way that people should connect with you online?
The best way to find me and connect with me is just hop over to my website, which is my name, jamiebroderick.com. And I have a free 10-day visibility course that is yours. You can learn all about my 4-step signature program to build visibility and become that market leader. Starts with confidence, then you build your credibility, grow your network of connections, and then get more people to know your name.
Great. And there is a link to your website and that free gift on the replay page here. So definitely go and check that out and connect with Jamie. And thank you so much for being here and giving us some fun tips and strategies.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Thanks.
All right. All right.